What's going on, world? It's your boy Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World, back for another amazing comics creator interview slash filmmaker. Y'all know I dabble in both worlds, as does my guest today. He is dropping Benjamin with Oni Press in June. The amazing writer, Ben H. Winters. How are you, Ben?
I'm all right. How are you?
I am wonderful. I want to just give you a quick shout out because my mom would be upset if I didn't. She is a huge fan of Tracker,
Oh,
and
nice,
seeing
nice.
that you have again you're a filmmaker as well outside of comics. I would be remiss if I didn't say hi from Mama Strange to
I
Mr.
love it.
Winters.
Come on, Strange. I said thank you for watching. If your listeners don't know, I created the show Tracker on CBS, aside from my book writing and comic book making and other stuff, parenting, whatever else I do all day.
I feel
Mhm.
that. I'm in that same boat, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, you've been writing a little bit with Oni Press on the EC comics line, which I love that as an old EC horror head. I love that. But now you're spinning off in June with Leo Max
Yeah.
Benjamin. Where did this grain or kernel of an idea come from? Have you had this in your pocket for a while to now launch this?
No, I mean, I've had the idea for a little while. Like I'm so like a lot of nerds and a lot of like sci-fi people. I'm really interested in just the idea of consciousness. Like, what is a human being? What does it mean? What's the difference between a brain and a mind? What does it mean to be a person, right? And like I feel like it's a sort of there are still and there always have been sci-fi authors who are particularly interested in this subject matter, right? Like folks like Philip K. Dick, William Gibson, like I mean, there's just a tons. And like I just thought I've always thought it would be really a fun idea to use a character like that as the protagonist of their own story. And so at some point I had this idea of like, well, what if this guy was a sci-fi author who wrote a ton of books in the 70s and then he dies in the early 80s and then he wakes up now in a motel room and he doesn't understand why. He doesn't know if it's him or if he's a clone now or if it's a digital download of him or if he's an alien. And he's like, basically, it's a mystery story, but the mystery is, what am I doing here? You know, how did this happen? So that was the genesis of it. And then I don't know, I talked to Oni about it and they were like, great, this sounds fun. And I really just like set off at a race to write it.
I love that. So,
Yeah.
I think as creatives, we're always asking those questions for ourselves and just everything, right? So they gave you the A-OK, they gave you the blessing.
Yeah.
It's a 3-issue limited series that just from the art that I've already seen, these covers, some of the
Oh,
interiors I've seen, absolutely beautiful.
yeah.
So when did you start production? Have you already, is it already all 3 issues already written? Where do we stand on all of this now as it drops?
It's all written. I think Leo Max, who's this incredible artist, who I was blessed that they paired me with this guy, is still working on the art for the later couple of issues. They've been commissioning these beautiful variant covers. Like, so I'm so in awe of the whole sort of because I'm new to comics. I'm really new to comics. I've been writing novels for years and TV for years, and but comics is new, and like I just like I'm in awe of the machinery of it. Just like I write my little story, I do my little scripts, and then like you send it off and get these great notes from the editor. Sierra Hahn was my editor on this, and she's incredible. And then like suddenly I'm just getting like my emails full of these incredible sketches, and then like slowly these characters have just in my head are coming to life on the page, and it's like what a gift! What a gift to me as an artist, as a writer, to suddenly have this vision realized by people who are so talented. It's really it's remarkable, you know. So yeah, it's a joy. It's just the whole thing's been a joy.
I love that. I love that. Just yeah, as someone like you who goes in and out of books and filmmaking and now comics, the process is just this is why we do it. This is like the fun for us. It's the
Yeah.
process. So
Yeah.
has it made you or informed you in how you do your process now as well? And now that you've kind of developed the rhythm, and this being your first ongoing full series now from just the shorts that you had in some of the previous EC stuff.
Yeah. I mean, now that I'm like looking to write more comics, like the more it's like any other skill, the more you do it, the more you sort of understand how it works and also what your own rhythm is with it. Like I think I'm with every comic story I've done, I've gotten more adept at understanding how to communicate what I'm seeing on the page so that the artist can come in and like translate that in ways that are reflect my idea and then also do something surprising with it. That's the cool thing is when you get the pages back and they figured out a way to communicate this idea even more clearly than I was imagining it, or to use the arrangement of the figures on the page to tell the story in ways that I didn't need to. Like, it's so funny because this is a little inside, but like when you first get the pages back from the editors, it's usually the sketch and they haven't put in the word bubbles yet, right? They haven't put in
Yeah.
the dialogue yet. So all you're seeing is the visual story. And there's a part of me every time is like, oh, I wrote too many words. I didn't need to write all that because the artist is so good that, Leo Max is so clever that he's communicating the events, the emotional events without the need for the dialogue. And it's like, oh, it's like almost like a silent movie where it's like, oh, you can just follow this story. I mean, I love it. I love it. So I'm learning and learning and learning. It's great.
I love that. My cheat code has always been like I'll give initial dialogue with my scripts, let the pencils come back, the pages come back, and I'll actually do the lettering, and then change up my dialogue while I'm doing the lettering,
Yeah.
and also
Yeah,
to cut.
totally. Yeah.
Because you don't want too many word bubbles. You don't want to cover up the beautiful art. You know.
Right. And also, it's always surprising. I think as writers, we are often feel the need to over explain and give too much and like write like
So
the
true.
audiences, readers, viewers are smart and they want to lean in and they want to figure stuff out. They don't want everything explained to them. And especially in a story like this, which is really about like a man trying to figure out who and where he is, like it's steeped in layers of mystery, both literal logistical mystery, but then also this sort of deeper existential mystery of what it is to be a person. And all of that, the less hit you over the head with it I am, the better the story is, the more nuanced and interesting it is. And then there's also this relationship at the center between him and this kid who's like a bellhop at the hotel who he befriends. And I don't know, so like the layers of just like what friendship is, I don't know, it's all in there, but I had to learn and learn and learn to like keep it as simple as possible, let the art tell the story.
Love it. Real quick, because again, I know you've got some things going on, and I
That's
really
okay.
appreciate your time.
No, I got time.
As a bi-coastal guy myself as
Yeah.
well, I know that this is set in like LA, and we're seeing different landmarks. Will there be any nuggets for those of us that love seeing that in, like we see it in films, and also with comics, like certain landmarks that we see the characters go and visit, and also what is the message you want people to leave with after they read Benjamin?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, it's definitely an LA story. It's not like there are there are LA stories that like lean into it in terms of like the Hollywood sign and stuff like that. This isn't exactly one of those, although it gets around. Like he sort of starts on the west side. The hotel where he wakes up is in Venice, not like in the fancy part of Venice, but kind of at like a rundown beachside hotel. Like, and I know these places. Like I can see it so clearly. And then he goes out to the desert, and then he's up in the hills because his friend that he makes has this ex-girlfriend, and her new guy lives up in the Hollywood Hills. So you get a little bit of that like. Those houses that are like glass boxes with the pool in the back. And like, so there's a little touristy stuff to it for sure. In terms of what I want people to come away with, like I feel like the best stories they leave you with this lingering sense of like thinking about your own life in a different way, in some way, right? They've stirred something up. They don't have a message to deliver exactly, but they want you to leave with a feeling. And by the way, that's a difference between this book and some of the shorter stuff I've doing because I've been honored to participate in these EC Comics anthologies and like those, they're these classic little horror stories or sci-fi stories that like they have a very quick setup and then a kind of sting at the end. And like the fun of it is in, oh, I didn't see that coming. And you're like, boom, or like, wow. With this, with Benjamin, I'm attempting something a little that requires a little bit more emotional engagement and that is a little bit more intellectually textured. So while it's still a fun story with I hope, some really great twists and turns and surprising reveals, it's less about that kind of, oh, what the heck? I didn't see that coming, and more about just like, oh, he's discovering himself. He's really thinking now about what his purpose is in the world. And that, which of course is a way of asking the reader to be like, well, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, well, I didn't just wake up in a motel room after 40 years, but I did just wake up somewhere for some reason I don't really understand. And I know that I'm going toward the void again at some point, like we all are. But like, what am I doing in the meantime? What is the point of my life? And the very last pages of the third book, without being a kind of like boom sting ending, they do have a little bit of a surprise that I hope is helping Benjamin figure out what the point of his life is, and in a way asks readers to think a little bit about theirs, which sounds kind of highfalutin. And don't get me wrong, it is all still a little bit weird and crazy and hallucinatory and sci-fi, but I'm trying. I'm trying to give it some, I don't know. As an artist, it's like you always want there to be something in there that we go
Yeah.
away with. We're a little moved. We're a little changed. We're a little
Yeah.
changed, you know?
Definitely. As I've gotten older, I'm you question things, and I really appreciate. It's like I didn't really appreciate it as much as I did before when I was younger. I think because we now have more lived-in experience, and now I really appreciate projects like these because it has me thinking. Because sometimes you just get stagnant,
Yeah.
and you like, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing or not? So I love stuff like this. So I cannot wait to
Oh,
dig
thank
into
you.
this, Ben, and just want to show appreciation for the book.
Thank you so much. It's such a gift. Thank you for letting me talk about it with you. And I hope people like it. I hope people buy it. I hope they read it. And I hope they love it. And I want to hear from people. Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's very, I mean, you can tell because the name of the book is my name. Like, I have a
Yeah,
very, which is just a coincidence, believe me. And yeah, totally. He's also a middle-aged science fiction writer, but it's totally a coincidence. But like, it's moving. It's personal. There's something about comics that is much more so than TV. It's like, it's very intimate. You're just making it, and like people, I don't know. It's just a very, like, because we all started reading comics under the covers at night with our flashlight. It's like this very childlike and intimate experience, and I'm excited to be able to give that to people in this way.
definitely. And so excited to read it. Thank you for sharing. You know what? One more question, if you don't mind,
Not at
because you
all.
dabble in back and forth in both worlds like I do. To me, this is the perfect playground when you don't get the producer's budget to try new things. Do you foresee maybe this being a playground for you to maybe test out Benjamin and then maybe, hey, producer, look at this, pick up the book. Give me some money. We can make this as a film. Do you,
Well,
have you thought about that? Or, because a lot of Hollywood has been mining from comics now.
of course. And of course, what I have learned, one of the lessons of my time out here in LA, in the Hollywood world, is sometimes things, well, to me, it's like, oh yeah, I read these comics. I'm like, of course, this would be a great movie. Or like, oh, what a cool show this would make. But I have learned that there are so many layers of obstacles and challenges and complications between that instinct and something actually getting made that like I never take it for granted anymore. I never assume. On the other hand, if someone calls me up tomorrow, I was like, hey, I saw about your thing, Benjamin, like let's talk. I'll be right at that meeting. Believe me. I will take
Yeah,
that meeting. Because first of all, it'd be really fun to spend more time in this sandbox. I love these characters. And also like I'm always up for reimagining something I've done in this new medium because it is fun to think about, who could play Benjamin? What kind of budget would it be? Where would it, like how would it be, a movie or a series? Like it's fun to think about.
yeah. I just love it as a tool that we can use, and I try to suggest that to fellow creative filmmakers back and forth to
Yeah,
work it. If it doesn't happen there, you can bring it here.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I love it. Thank you for sharing in that, Ben. And again, I cannot wait to dive into Benjamin. Everyone, Oni Press, June from Ben H. Winters, as well as Leo Max. You scored on the artist, by the way.
Oh,
This guy is phenomenal.
great guy too. He's been terrific to collaborate with. So yes, it's terrific. 100%, 100 out of 100 on Leo Max on this. Yeah.
Let's go. Thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate your time. Everybody, Benjamin drops in June from Oni Press. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you. There's a
Nerds rule the world.
Pleasure chatting with you. Love to all my nerds who rule the world.
Nerds rule the world.
Yes, we do.
Thanks. Nerds rule the world. Thank you.
I love the nerds ruling the world, so more power to you.
Patrick, what up, man? And yes, they do. Nerds rule the world, kid.
yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? I'm one of
Thank
them.
you. Awesome. Kuya P, nerds rule the world. Hello.
Yes, they do.
Oh,
Nerds rule the world.
I gotta.
It's in the title of your show, like Nerds Rule the World. Like, I want more black weirdos on screen, and I don't feel like we ever get to see that very much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Nerds
Appreciate
do rule the world.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you,
rule.
Nerds Rule.
Love it.
Hello, Sarah. Hello, Julian.
Yes,
Rock on. I love it. Thank you so much.
It's good to see you. I love Nerds Rule the World.
But yeah, there's a heavy nerd component, man.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you ask me, nerds rule the world. So
Absolutely.
And you're right, nerds do rule the world.
We're just the best.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
so much.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
It's your boy Kuya P. Nerds rule the world. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you.
do. They rule the world all right.
Yes. Take care, Tony. Thank you, guys.